D, what up, baby?
What's up, Sway? What's up, DB?
How you doing?
Doing
How
good,
you
man.
been? Good
Doing
to see
good.
you, brother.
Good to see you too, man. How you been?
Man, I cannot complain. It's great to talk with you again, and you look amazing in the movie. I'm gonna let DB do this quick intro for our listening audience, those who can't view it. DB, go for it.
All right. Well, it was around this time last year that we were fortunate enough to get some time with the biggest star in Hollywood and physically as well too. But he is also the most followed actor on Instagram at about 340 million, I believe, as of this interview, and one of the most followed actors, most followed accounts in the world. I mean, he's an incredible, multi-talented person, actor, athlete, father, businessman, entrepreneur, you name it. And it's an honor to have him back here with us today to talk about this new film coming up in the DCEU that I got to see last night, and I can't wait to talk to him about it. There's a few things that I might have to ask him about off camera, but you should really go see it. I want all 340 people on his Instagram to go get tickets to go see Black Adam on October 21st. Please welcome back to Sway in the Morning, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Come on, man.
That was good. That was a hell of an intro. Thank you, DB. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Anytime.
But look, I think we could talk about everything on camera. I think we're good to go, man.
We're good
I
to
don't want
go.
to spoil anything. You know, it's something about the ending, so I don't want Warner Brothers shutting me down.
Don't worry. I know how to navigate that one, but still, we'll be good.
Okay,
because that is an interesting ending, but we'll come back to that. All right. I gotta ask you first before we get into Black Adam. Last time we talked, we were talking about Face Off with Tech Nine.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, man, and you, man, that became a hit. How many views you end up getting on that?
I mean, it was crazy, man. Whatever. I think it's still going too. I mean, we got lucky, you know, and it was just really phenomenal. And I'll always I want to take a moment just to acknowledge Joey and King ISO and Tech, man. Those guys were just really amazing. They let me come into their world, put me on that album, and Tech really helped me too, man, just in terms of, because I can't write rhymes like that, but I can say what I feel in my heart. And he just, with his flow, and as I've said, I think we talked about this, man, there is no, that dude, his flow, his style, he can retire dudes if they step up to him, man. So I just really appreciate those guys really letting me come on, man, and have fun and doing what we did.
So the way you sound, I guess the next question was, have you been in the studio since? But you don't sound like you've been in the studio.
No, not yet. But hey, you forcing mechanism to me, I'm happy to get in the studio. And, yeah.
Okay.
He was in the movie studio. He was busy.
He was busy in the movie studio, right?
I would love to collaborate, man, with those dudes again, or you know, if something comes up, for sure.
I see you and Kendrick doing a track. We'll talk about that later. But I think that would be great. We had Kenya Barris come to the show, you know, the creator of Blackish, Grownish, Girls Trip. And we were having a really interesting conversation, and and we were talking about the nature, the climate in the business right now. And he said something really interesting. He said, content is the new NFT, right? And I was researching $7 and just looking at how many projects that you've done through $7 now, you and Danny have done successfully. And I kind of wanted to know, what is your take? Like, what have you observed now, you know, that you have your own company and you're the executive producer now? What does the climate look like to you? Well,
for us, I think the climate looks like we've gotten to a place now where we are credentialed in the streets. We've got some good success behind us, giving us some, you know, good tailwind. And it's also put us in a position where we can, I don't want to say force, that's not the right word because they're our partners, but we can help our partners along to take risks. It's okay to take risks, especially if you do the work, you prepare, you feel like you have your ear to the ground, your finger on the pulse of what you feel like people might like or what they might not like, and take that risk. It's easy, and I get it, and you guys know this too, from a studio perspective and the executives there and how they operate. A lot of times they'll look at something and they want to be careful, they want to protect their jobs, and I understand that. So a lot of times it is, yeah, we'll make the investment, but we're going to make the investment in the thing that we feel like will be a for sure hit. Well, sometimes, and I'll bring it back to Black Adam now because it's been a 10-year project, is when we first approached the studio about Black Adam, it was hard. It was a hard it was a hard yes. It was a harder yes, because they would want to go after Batman and Superman and Batman versus Superman and Justice League. And then, all these that everyone was already familiar with, because no one knew who Black Adam was. No
well, I
one.
did.
Right. Right. Yes. If you knew the comics and the mythology, you knew who Black Adam was. But in terms of the masses around the globe, they didn't know who Black Adam was. So we're in a good position now where we can help the studios along, take some of these risks and feel good about them and roll the dice. And we're also been in a good position too, where we on our end, we do feel at $7 that we could do anything and everything as long as it's good, as long as it's quality. Because really that's the thing that we really sink our teeth into with the consumers and the audience and the people is we're going to deliver quality to you, regardless of what genre it is, regardless of what area it is in.
Have you gotten to the point, because as I listen to you speak, and I've been looking at all the movies, a lot of the movies you star in, you now produce, I can relate to that on a smaller level, Dwayne, where I won't do projects unless I can oversee it myself, because I want to ensure that it has a certain level of quality. That reminds me of, if I made a sports correlation, Floyd Mayweather, who would promote his own fights. Is that where you at where you are right now? Like most of the projects you star in, you want to produce?
We do. We want to produce them as a company and have our fingerprint on it, but also have our ownership as much as we can on it.
Okay.
And ownership is really, in the world of any kind of business, any industry you're in, we look to own our projects. Now, of course, with a studio, it's a little different. You'll have to split a lot of things, which is fine. But in other industries that we're in, we look to found the companies, be the founders of the companies, and then own it. But in terms of Hollywood, we go back a long time.
Yes.
And what I learned very early in my career, and at that time, my business partner, Danny, we were married at that time, coming out of University of Miami, learned very early to always listen to the audience and always connect with the audience. And those were days, even before I got to WWE, when I was wrestling in flea markets and state fairs and things like that, just making $40 a match. We were always listening to the audience. So what we do now, so we still take that philosophy of audience first. We will always listen to the audience, and let's make sure that our North Star is always the audience and what they're going to like. So I have this philosophy, Sway and D, that regardless of what happens, whether in a movie or in a wrestling match or other products we can create and sell, my philosophy is I always want to send you home happy.
There you go.
And whatever that means. And I will always do that. So
you always do that. I'm gonna let DB jump in real quick. I just love talking. Man, like you said, we've known each other a long time, and I'm so amazed at what you've been able to build over the years. And even on a personal level, it's not easy working with somebody that you was once with that's now your ex. I've had to experience that. I've gone out with some amazing people, but when they become your ex, you typically decide that you're going to sever all ties. Right. I love the fact that you and Danny can still build amicably and create this platform. What insight can you give a person like me that wants to still work with an ex, but don't know how to go about doing it?
Man, I love that question. And I appreciate you acknowledging that. Now, where we're at today comes with a lot of work and a lot of digging in. And I mean, that was years ago, but now while marriage wasn't in our cards, we did realize that, well, wait a second, we have been building something here that's pretty cool. Marriage may not be in our cards, but building business can be. Okay. And that took time. I will say my advice and counsel here would be, and it sounds a lot easier said than done, and quite frankly it is, but man, when you can skillfully communicate your feelings and your intentions, and you come to the table with your partner as you guys are either going through a separation or divorce, and I've been there, and stuff can get ugly at times when you're having these conversations, because both sides just want to get heard. But if you can get through the sludge and it requires great communication. Then on the other side of that is usually some greatness. And it's usually you find a nice common place where you can work with your ex, your spouse, your ex-spouse, and again, get to a good place and stay focused on whatever the goals are. For us, it came down to communication. And that wasn't easy for me because years ago, I would, like a lot of dudes, we'd, keep our emotions
Keep
inside.
our feelings here, bro. Yeah. And then we explode,
Yes, it goes from 0 to 100 a lot with us. But I would say that it was just sometimes just communication and being really clear in the intention and the goals, and making sure that me and my ex, you and your ex, or anybody out there watching and listening is making sure that those goals are aligned. And by the way, if they're not, that's okay. It's okay. Yeah. We can say goodbye and wish them the best of luck, and we'll see you down the road. So I got really lucky, man, with Danny, and
yeah,
she's,
bro.
She's been incredible.
Salute to Danny. I never tell her I said salute, brother.
Oh, you know what? You'll meet her one day. I think you'll really like her, man, for sure. She's the hustler, man. She's badass.
I wanted to ask about when I was watching the film last night, because you talked about the audience being a big priority for you. And as I'm watching the film, I think the thing that I kept thinking about was sort of a question that's posed to the audience, sort of indirectly, and it's sort of the difference between a hero and a villain, but also choosing to be a hero or not. And whether you want to be or not to people, Dwayne, you're a hero to your kids, your other family, your friends, people around the world of all ages and walks of life who you may not even get to meet. And so do you ever feel like when you have that many people who look up to you, that there are other people who are just waiting for you to say the wrong thing, make the wrong move, so they can, pick apart your character and say, look, he's not a hero, he's not a good guy?
Oh, sure. Yeah, you get that. I think everybody gets that. There's a lot of people out there who just, they're waiting for you to trip. They're waiting for any kind of mistake, quick to judge, quick to cancel, things like that. So yeah, you get that. And I get that. But, the whole thing, it's great you talk about the philosophy that you saw in the movie, but also, DB, in real life, it's non-negotiable for me, because I remember what it was like when I didn't have much and no one cared who I was or asking for an autograph or a picture or anything like that. So, these days, things are different. So you ask me for an autograph or a picture, I mean, really, it's the easiest part of my job to do that. So not a problem. But by the way, to your point, the ones who are just waiting for you to fall or trip and just so they can point their finger and say, see, I told you, that's okay too.
Right.
I think it was Jay-Z who said, something like you can't break what you didn't build, or you can't, something like that, right? There was some great quote he had there, man. I remember that.
I
like you quoting Jay, though. Hold up, I like you quoting Jay. We gotta give that some acknowledgement.
Yeah,
Jay-Z quote. Go ahead.
That was a great quote, right? It was something like that. I'm probably screwing it up, but Jay-Z said something like, you can't break what you didn't build, or you can't kill what you didn't build. It was something like that. And if you really think about that, as simplistic as that is, it's so true. Like, wait a second. Like, people can point their fingers and they could hate and they could say whatever they want to say and they could talk trash, etc. But you didn't build it, I built it. So only I can. I decide what happens to this.
So you got 340 million followers on Instagram. I know every follower is not DMing you something nice, so do you even respond to that sort of stuff? Or
No, you know what? Every once in a while, I usually don't, because at the end of the day, you got the problem, man. If you're taking the time to type something negative about me, no problem. But every once in a while, someone will say something that is a little sharp and feels like it's beyond just, excuse my language, but just talking shit. Like, it feels like it's a personal thing. And that's when I'll just give a little message, send it out there. And it's usually something like, you sound tough. I'm not hard to find, one of those things. So.
Oh, that's what usually what your message is. I ain't mad at that, man. Go ahead, DB. I'm sorry, D. Go ahead for it.
No, it's all good. I was gonna say that as a musician, I think one of the pinnacle points of your career when you're starting out is like that first time you get to hear your song on the radio, you know, your first big interview, maybe your first invite to an award ceremony, whatever. But I was thinking about when I saw you first appear on screen, full costume, and it's just like Black Adam is here, about to kick everybody's ass sort of moment. What did it feel like for you to actually put it on for the first time before you started filming, but just to have it fully on, like to be Black Adam? Like what went through your mind?
It was incredible. This is honestly, this is the one for me. Black Adam is the one for me, DB. Sway,
right.
this is the one for me. This is it. Everything that I've done in my career, including wrestling, I believe deep that it's all led to this one. And it's, to me, it's make or break. To me, my back's up against the wall. To me, this is the one. So the first time I put on the costume, it's emotional, man. You put that costume on and you're looking at it in the mirror and you just have a quiet moment, you know, and it's just like, man, I'm really grateful. I tell you, my co-star, Aldis Hodge, who plays Hawk.
I love Aldis.
Aldis is a good dude, man. Good dude. He said something really beautiful the other day, because everyone wants to know, hey, what's it like to put on superhero costumes, right? And we talked about it. And he said, I wasn't even putting on a costume. I was putting on a dream. And this is a dream for me. And it really moved me, man. So I want to share that sentiment too as well. You put it on and it's a dream. It's a dream. Because you get lucky, I think, if you're in our world. And it's the same thing in music. I believe, like, you get your music on the radio, you worked hard, but you got to get a little bit of luck. You work hard in Hollywood, you get a little bit of luck if you're lucky enough to play a superhero. So it was amazing putting that costume on, man. By the way, they first made it. It was they put the muscle padding in for me. They do with all the other costumes, and I put it on for the first time.
That wasn't your body?
No, wait a second. Hold on. Don't start rumors. Hold on, Sway. No, so I put it on, and it had muscle padding in it, and I looked ridiculous. And it looked like I belonged on like a Saturday Night Live skit. And I told him, I said, I think we got to take these muscle pads out because I'm really working my ass off for this role. So they did take it out. They remade the costume, so it just laid on my body, and it was just really thin, like a Lycra or something like that. So it worked out good. It worked out good.
Yo, man, that was way too many muscles. All right. Hey, Dwayne Johnson, man, I appreciate you. Thank you. Congratulations on Black Adam. We want everybody to go and check it. I saw the movie at home. I got a link, and I was going to ask you a question, but I know we have to go. But it was something like, go ahead, ask you. Okay, so here was the question, right?
We control the time. We control the time.
We control. That's what this is who we are now, right?
Control the time. Okay, man.
So, yes, man. So 10th Adam wasn't born was born a human, was born a mortal, right?
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
And then he was brought back to life as a god, right? Then he changed his name to Black Adam. You see where I'm going with this, DB? Does that mean the black man is God, Dwayne Johnson?
That answer would be yes.
All right, brother. I just want to run that by you, man. Hey, good to see you. Congratulations. We got to do this in person, okay?
We got to do this in person. And I want to say this before we wrap up. I want to acknowledge something, man. We go back a long way. And I always, in a moment like this, because there's not many, but I want to acknowledge, I appreciate you taking care of me earlier on in the days when I was still trying to turn a corner. And, you know, you were good to me, man, back then. DB, I don't think I knew you back then. It was way in the back. But you were, Sway, and I really appreciate that, man. Thank you. At a time when, you know, not everybody was. So thank you very much.
Dwayne, it's all love, brother. And you're good to me back. So let's keep being good to each other. All right. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for that acknowledgement too, man. I'll see you soon.
See you soon. Thank you. Thank you, Sway.
Right.
Thank you, DB. I appreciate you, brother.
If you ever need me, I'm right here.
I got you too.